All right. Good day, everybody. Thank you for joining us on yet another episode of the podcast. And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about lessons in technology, resilience, and value add from Kenya's potato revolution. And our guest today is none other than Winnie Wambugu. As she is the co-founder and managing director of Nakuru's Tubers, a forward-thinking agro-business revolutionizing Kenya's potato value chain through research, technology, and indigenous knowledge. She has a strong foundation in horticulture, seed potato research, and business management. Winnie leads a passionate team who are focused on improving productivity, reducing post harvest losses, and helping smallholder farmers, particularly women and youths and indigenous communities, build resilience to climate change. Her work spans in innovation solutions such as hydroponic, tissue culture seed production, climate resilient potato variety, Internet of Things powered storage unit, and value added processing like potato flour. She's also championing formal education, delivering climate smart trainings, and fostering collaborations through digital platform. Winnie is an impact driven leader and she has earned several prestigious awards, including the WFP Ignite Seed Award, the Vital Voices Fellow 2024 cohort, an international award of 1,000 entrepreneurs, a prototype for humanity, Dubai Future Foundation, an innovation award for GIZ, IFC, and Delta 40 Studios. Winnie is committed to scaling farmer-centered innovation and protect the environment and uplift communities across Africa. Winnie, I'm super excited to have you on the podcast today. How are you doing?
Hi, thank you so much. I'm doing fine, and I'm looking forward to the stream.
Fantastic, fantastic. First of all, I would like to say that your bio is quite impressive, and the work that you're doing, yeah, the work that you're doing in Kenya is also very impressive as well. Particularly with the value add that you're doing with potatoes, that's really, really beautiful, and it's a commendable work. So my very first question to you today is: you have successfully built the Naruku tuber from ground up, right? And so, what inspired you to sort of focus on that specifically, on seed potato innovation, and what just inspired you to do that?
Yeah, thank you very much for that. I'm going to start with a little bit of a background on how the company was formed. And
Okay.
I'll start way back during my master's studies. And during this time, I had a special focus on the potato value chain. And I had the
Okay.
opportunity to interact with more than 8,000 smallholder farmers to understand some of the challenges they are facing and also to offer some of the training and capacity building programs. And it was during this interaction I was able to realize that 98% of the smallholder farmers in Kenya, they lack access to high quality seeds. And this
Mhm.
becomes a challenge in the sense that if you don't get good seed, you don't get
Yeah,
good yields. And so you
true.
realize that the potato farmers are still not getting the income they're supposed to get because of the issue of seed. And so I did my research on the seed potato value chain through the support I received from TagDev program sponsored by Mastercard Foundation, and it was through my research I was able to come up with I was able to increase the quality as well as the quantity of seed potato. And I published my papers, I finished my master's, and the big question was how do farmers get this research to the ground? How do they implement what I'm doing?
Mm.
And I was able to now translate my research into a company in the sense that I can utilize these research findings to be able to produce high quality seeds and also make them more accessible to the farmers. And now Nakuru Tubers was, of course, born, and now we do try to bridge this disconnect between research institutions and farmers by producing clean seeds and reducing the over reliance on farm saved or the diseased seed potatoes. And we're also
Yeah.
trying to introduce some of the climate resilient technologies that have been researched on to smallholder farmers.
Fantastic, fantastic. And we were just talking about behind the scene before we came on. I was just talking about the name of your company, and you sort of just shared that it's from your community. I was like, wow, that's that's so beautiful. Like ordinarily, people would tend to name their company maybe by something that is uh, distinct or something that they like. Or but what sort of inspired you to name your company after your, let's say, like the community where you're from? What inspired that for you?
My inspiration was first born from the fact that most of the farmers I interviewed or interacted with were from this county, were from Nakuru. And the other part was coming up with a new company and giving it a very complex name. Farmers might not be able to understand where the company is based from. And so to ease things up, we came up with Nakuru Tubers. And so every single time you mention to a farmer, our company is called Nakuru Tubers, they already have a clue that this company is based in Nakuru. And if they are in Nakuru, it means that they can easily be able to come to our company, or they can easily access the company as well as our products. Yeah.
Fantastic, beautiful. That's so. I think that's so. That's like an ingenious thing to have done to increase the acceptability of your company, and make the customers, which are the farmers that you're serving, feel more at home with you and feel like, oh, okay, this person is for us. She means us well. That's really good. Really,
Yeah.
really, really,
You.
really good. So, um, what gap would you say that you are trying to fill within the Kenya agricultural landscape?
The first gap we are trying to fill is on the limited accessibility to high quality seeds. There is a shortage of seed. As I had mentioned earlier, we have 98% of the smallholder farmers not having access to seed. And so we came in to bridge this gap. The other one is cost as well as knowledge gaps. We have come up with a model that allows us to be able to produce our seeds deep inside the rural communities. And so we tend to reduce the cost of transportation to these farmers, as well as increase the accessibility to these farmers based on where they are located. And so we have set demo farms, or we have farms that are scattered across Nakuru County in some of the biggest villages or communities where they're growing potatoes. And this means that if a farmer is in rural area A, they don't have to move to rural area C or D to purchase seeds. They just buy from rural area A. And also, we are coming up with training and capacity building programs, which we do not charge. They are absolutely free. And we tend to train our farmers on some of the climate smart technologies and also some of the emerging technologies that they can utilize to be able to increase their productivity straight in their villages. They do not need to move at all.
Wow, wow. So that means you are taking the solution directly to the end users. They don't have to come after you. You are going to them. Wow, that's
We are
really a
really
smart. Yeah, that's really a smart idea because the receptivity to that, the receptivity to that is going to be high. There won't be any sort of resistance, like, oh, okay, I can't go that way to meet them, but rather you're taking the solutions down to them. That's really amazing. Really, really amazing. Wow, commendable work you're doing. And so, speaking of seeds, is it just potato that your company is focused on, or you also work on other seeds?
okay. Hi, are you there?
Yes, I am. Did you hear my question?
Yes, I did. For now, since we are a startup, we specifically focus to first deal with seed potatoes, and that is the
Yeah.
Irish potatoes. But in the near future, when you look at our long-term goals, we're looking towards venturing into all tuber crops. We have cassava, we have sweet potatoes. We're looking into incorporating all these things into our system. But for now, we are now starting with seed potatoes for the Irish potatoes.
Oh, that's really good. Really, really good. Irish. Wow. That's really good. That particular produce, really, really good. Really, really good. I think. Oh, okay. Nice. Nice. Okay. So my next question to you is, what are some of like the biggest challenges that you have seen that smallholder farmers face when they try to like sort of adopt climate smart farming practices? And what are the steps that you've sort of taken to help them, bridge that gap?
Some of the biggest challenges that farmers are facing is the knowledge gap. We also have they honestly don't know what is going on. They just know their technologies they've been using years and years. But we have modern technologies that is coming in to solve the issues to do with climate, and so there is that gap where farmers don't know these technologies. The few technologies they know might be expensive, and so we have the cost aspect coming in. Some of these technologies require you install, I don't know, some equipments that are worth more than $1,000, which farmers cannot afford. And we also have lack of localized advisory support, and this is whereby farmers don't have the one-on-one support or advisory they might need. When you look at the extension officers by the government, we are looking at one extension officer serving about 1,800 to 2,000 farmers, which is not viable for one person to be able to interact with 1,800 farmers and try to give them advice one on one. It becomes a challenge. And so this becomes a huge gap that we as agripreneurs and especially the young people can be able to play a role in trying to design offer bundled services, come up with last mile delivery approaches, and also try to simplify some of the technical climate smart innovations, making them affordable and also actionable. And those are technologies that they can be easily adopted by rural farmers.
Oh, wow, that's really good. Really, really good. Really, really good. Hmm. Fantastic. Fantastic. So, can you sort of like walk us through maybe one or two technologies that has sort of made a difference in farmers' productivity from your own experience? One or two technologies that you've seen that sort of made a difference in terms of like the productivity for smallholder farmers.
One of the technologies we are having is the hydroponics technology. While we might not give this directly to the farmers, it's what we are utilizing to be able to increase the accessibility and our availability of high quality seeds. And so, what you do is hydroponics does not require soil. You utilize other soilless
Yeah.
media for planting, and so it becomes very useful in the sense that number one, most of the soils are normally diseased or they do have some pest, and this becomes a challenge in the sense that if you're producing seed from soil that has diseases, it's likely to spread to another farm. And so by utilizing
Yeah.
hydroponics, we are reducing any spread of pests and diseases. And also hydroponics does not depend on rainfall. And so with the issues to do with climate change coming in, we are trying to utilize hydroponics, and in a year we can get up to 3 or 4 seasons of potatoes. We can harvest up to 4 times instead of depending on where you only harvest twice, or sometimes you can get very low yield because of climate. And the other technology that has been adopted by the smallholder farmers is trying to come up with potato flour or value addition. And so we are having a very, I would say, very cheap or cost effective solar dryers that farmers are utilizing to be able to produce their potato flour. And this means that farmers they don't need to sell their potatoes at very low prices when you're having excess potatoes in the market. By utilizing these solar dryers, they can be able to dry their potatoes and sell them as gluten-free flour, which is number one. Actually, you get more revenue streams as compared to selling potatoes as a tuber. And number two, you reduce on the losses you could have incurred due to the limited accessibility to market, or when we have surplus potatoes in the market.
Wow, that's nice. So, the hydroponics for growing and ensuring that you're able to grow multiple harvest like multiple times within a year, as well as the solar dryers. Can you talk a bit about how you guys sort of use IoT?
Yes, for the IoTs, we've been able to incorporate them for our seed stores, and they are normally called diffused light stores. These are just easily affordable storage that we've been able to construct for seed potato producers. And so, what happens is we normally utilize IoT to be able to check on the humidity and temperature levels. For you to store seed, they need to be at a specific. They need to have a specific humidity level as well as temperatures. And so we utilize
Yeah.
IoT to be able to check the levels of temperature or humidity. When we're having any variations, we can easily be able to detect these and try to change, maybe try to reduce the temperatures, and also try to increase. Most of the time, is increasing the humidity levels. They've actually assisted
Mm.
us way beyond, like, it has been so easy. You can easily, wherever you are, you can easily check on your store. You can be able to see whether there is any problem, and it saves us a lot, especially being in the seed sector.
Wow, that's really, really, really good. And so, how is the adoption rate of that technology? How's
um
like generally how's the adoption rate?
for that technology, the IoT powered storage has been utilized by seed merchants, or the people, the farmers in the seed sector. There are not so many, but I would say the
Okay.
adoption is quite good. We are looking at, yeah, we do have a few seed merchants who are trying to adopt to the technology.
Okay, that's really good. Fantastic. So you have also sort of worked extensively with women, youths, and with indigenous communities. So what are like the key to engaging and empowering this group of people for agriculture? What are the key things you've done to sort of just engage them and keep them engaged within agriculture?
When it comes to women, young people, and indigenous communities, inclusion must be intentional. You have to be so intentional when it comes to including everyone in the community and ensuring that every solution we're coming with is not leaving other people out. And so, what we are doing is, for
Mm.
example, in the indigenous communities, you cannot go to indigenous communities and start telling them about hybrid seeds or GMOs, right? So you need to
Yeah.
come up with tailored programs that these farmers can be able to adopt. And so what we are doing is, when we have indigenous communities, we are training them on how to preserve their own seeds, how to be able to select seeds from their fields and preserve them. We are teaching them the good preservation methods of their seeds. And this becomes so easier, especially when it comes to ensuring that everyone is on the same level. Like, we are not disagreeing to agreeing. And sometimes we do introduce science or some of the new latest scientific findings, but we try to incorporate that with their indigenous knowledge. Try to tell them you can also utilize this technology as you do your normal routine. This becomes so easier for indigenous farming communities to be able to adopt to some of the trainings we are giving them. When it comes to young people, this becomes a very tricky age group, I would say. They're not so much interested in farming and all that. And so you need to come up with training modules that will enable these young people to be able to think and also to be integrated in the ag space. And so we try to teach them about entrepreneurship, on how they can be able to farm and get money from farming, and not seeing farming as an odd job, and tell them how you can be able to generate revenue from either farming. If most of them are not into farming, you introduce things to do with marketing. You can be able to aggregate, you can be able to send your produce, or some of them are adopting to value addition very well, baking with potato flour. And so we try to train every single group based on where they are at. And
Yeah.
we've actually recently introduced the PWDs. And we are now working with about 50 PWDs who are in the agricultural sector. And we also try to incorporate training modules based on their mode of operation and things like those. And so inclusion must be intentional.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. I like how you guys sort of meet each category of people from where they are, and just embracing where they are, make it easier for them, and then okay, sort of suggest and say, okay, let's also work on this. And I like how you talked about for the youth. Um, I personally I believe that every single person, regardless of your skill sets or your expertise, there's something within the agricultural sector that you can do. Like your skill set will be relevant within the sector. It doesn't have You don't have to be the person going to the field, like you mentioned. You could be the person behind marketing. You could be the person behind maybe packaging or something. But yeah, that's really, really amazing. So now let's talk a bit about post-harvest losses, right? Because I know that uh, potato, from the explanation you gave with the IoT, it's one produce that is very sensitive to like either temperature, humidity, and things like that. And so there's a tendency for it to go bad easily as well. So let's talk about post harvest losses. Post harvest losses are like a huge issue across Africa generally, regardless of the produce in itself. So, what are some of the affordable or as well as scalable solutions that you have implemented or you have seen that young agripreneurs should sort of consider to invest in?
One thing I would advise, I would say young entrepreneurs, especially in Africa, where we do not have huge amounts of capital to invest, is to start very simple. Start with simple technologies. You don't need to build a whole cold store worth tens of thousands of dollars. You need to come up with an idea of coming up with a low cost cold room that maybe utilizes renewable energy. Or I've seen technologies like coming up with a cold room made up of charcoal, or also others are made up of grass. And we also have solar dryers coming in. And it is through some of these simple technologies that we can be able to revolutionize production in Africa, ensuring that we are not losing any produce that is being produced by our farmers, and also trying to come up with value added products. We currently have a lot of grants and funding that is around value addition and also processing. How do we make right now we have technologies like frozen fries. We also have some of the powdered chilies that you can easily make using a solar dryer. And so this means that we do not need to have a lot of capital to come up with a solution. You can come up with mobile storage services and things like those. And one advantage of Nakuru Tubers is we've not only focused on coming up with potato flour, but now we are looking into the potato peels. Once you peel your potatoes, what are you doing with these potato peels? We are trying to utilize these potato peels and do more research on it to come up with other products like packaging bags that can be made from potato peelings. And some of these will lead to affordable and environmental friendly solutions that can be utilized to create more jobs in the rural settings.
Wow, that's really good. Really, really good. I like how you are just sort of giving examples that are very relatable, and how you just made mention of the fact that we can always start from where we are. We don't have to like spend a lot of money, but maximizing the resources that are available and all the options that you have also sort of laid out. In terms of like the value chain within potato, what do you foresee happening within the next 5 to 10 years in terms of like the things that can be made out of potato? Because currently, right now, you just mentioned like the flour for baking. There was something you mentioned that I was just very intrigued by when you said the frozen, is it frozen chips or frozen fried chips? I was like, ah.
Yeah.
I know that there's a frozen one, which is fresh, so you just defrost and you fry. But frozen chips, like frozen fried chips, I was like, okay. So, but what do you foresee in terms of like maybe value added products that could sort of come from that, from potato? What do you foresee?
We actually have clothes that are coming from potato peels. We do have,
Outfits?
yes, t-shirts, yes. Outfits, we do have clothes that are coming from some of the
Uh,
of the vegetative parts of potatoes. We are looking into in the next coming few years. We are looking into very innovative ideas and solutions that are revolving around not only potatoes but the agri-tech space sector in general. I have seen sanitary towels coming from bananas. I've seen shoes coming from pineapples. And you can only imagine if we continue to be this innovative in the next coming few years, we are not going to be losing anything from the agri space. Right now, every single peel can be reutilized and it can be used to come up with biodegradable products that are environmental friendly and that are creating more jobs for young people.
Wow. So from what you're saying is within the next couple of 5 to 10 years, within the agricultural sector in Africa, we're going to be vested more into like the circular economy. That's like your projection, where it's like end to end, everything within the system is useful. There's nothing that, should be disposed. There's still something that can be done with it. Interesting. I was just very intrigued to hear like that T-shirt and the sanitary towel from Banana. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
crazy. I think young people are now thinking way beyond what most people are thinking 10 years ago. I mean, if most people are not willing to be in the production sector of agriculture, and we still have issues to do with employment, we need jobs, we need to be able to sustain ourselves. And so most people are trying to come up with solutions that are revolving all around from marketing. We have service providers that are coming in. We also have a lot of soil health materials that are being made from the agricultural waste. And so right now, everything is actually going circular economy way.
it's beautiful. Oh, this has just been an interesting conversation. And I'm learning a lot. Like I'm learning a lot. So, um, can you talk now let's talk a bit about partnerships and collaborations, right? How did like your partnerships with let's say GIZ, Delta 40 sort of contribute to your success? And what would be like the advice you would give to like a young innovator seeking support? What can they do to make themselves whether investment ready or support ready? So
One thing I would say is, as a startup or as an upcoming agripreneur, strategic partnership is key. And number one, it builds you so quickly, it enables you to grow so fast, and also you're able to build networks. I would say one of the key things that every young person should be looking forward to is creating good networks. And it is through these networks and also partnerships that will enable you to move from one level to another level to another level. And we are looking into organizations such as, I'll talk of the World Food Program. I was under
yeah.
the World Food Program, and number one is it opened more doors to networks, it opens doors to knowledge. You're able to interact with labs that can be able to assist you to develop your technology for free. Some of these networks are looking for they are looking for young people like us to be able to capacity build them, to be able to provide them with resources. And it is through these networks that you create and partnerships that you create, so you're able to grow. Some of them refer you to another person or another network, and you are able to either benefit. Some of them I have benefited financially. I have benefited through product development and also testing my product in the market. It becomes easier when you have these networks. And as they always say, two heads are better than one, or it becomes easier when you're many. Sometimes they do assist you. When you have a problem, you can go to this organization, you can move to this organization. And maybe my advice will be, show clear impact, try to stay as transparent as you can, no fishy business, be transparent, be honest, and always bring value to the table. You must be ready each and every time when an opportunity knocks. You must be so ready that when that opportunity knocks, you are there embracing it and grabbing it with everything that you have. Yeah.
Mm, beautiful. Beautiful. So they have to be transparent with the work they do. They have to sort of show impact and they have to stay ready. Like if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So they just have to stay ready. So, hmm, okay. Sounds really fun and interesting. Really, really interesting. So my very next question to you at this time is what are like some of the simple but yet powerful steps anybody listening to us today can take that will help them move closer to building an impactful and sustainable agribusiness?
One of the most powerful steps is you can start small. And most of the times we hear people saying they started from their basement or from their bedrooms. I mean, you always have to start small for you to grow. You do not need to have tens of thousands of dollars for you to be able to even come up with a product. You can always start small with the materials that you have and stay focused, and you can be focusing on the problem that you're trying to solve, trying to come up with technologies, trying to come up with better and innovative ways to solve some of these problems. The other step will be to always align with the community. Each and every time you think of a problem, talk to people, listen deeply, try to make the product better, come up with a prototype, a very small, simple prototype. Made even You can even come up with a prototype that costed you about $5. Use that prototype, take it to some of the potential customers, listen to them, and try to make your product better step by step. You do not need to invest so much in coming up with a product. You need to first understand your market, understand their needs, and come up with a better product. Impactful agribusinesses are built by solving real problems, and not just chasing funding or grants. Grants do assist you, especially when you're a startup, but it reaches a level where now you can be able to solve real problems based on what your community wants.
Wow. So they have to sort of focus on real challenges and then try to solve those things, then create like a prototype, observe the market. There was something you said earlier on, which is you had mentioned that most young people are not inclined towards agriculture, as some certain young people still have a mindset or a perception that is it's a menial job, right? So for any young person that listening on the call right now, or that would also sort of watch the replay later on, that they are sort of contemplating whether or not agriculture is like a good sector for them to invest their time, their energy, or their resources into. What do you have to say to such a person?
I'd first tell such a person to not focus on agri if they're not ready for it. You have to be ready for the it's actually so intensive. It is very, especially in the production side, it is very intensive. You cannot be able to do agriculture, you cannot be able to be in the production sector if you are 10 if you are 100 kilometers away. You cannot make phone calls to you've put a whole poultry unit of 100 chicks, and you are like 100 kilometers away, and you're always making phone call asking how are the chicks doing. You need to be ready to get your hands dirty, and it is until you are so ready to, number one, get tired, have sleepless nights, get ready for any losses. Sometimes you can have a disease that can kill all your birds, all your 100 birds at a go. You must be ready for these. And you must be ready for this. I would say that agriculture is it's actually a career. you can build your career from agriculture. You can be able to drive whatever cars that you want. You can be able to live a happy ever after life. You can be able to live a comfortable life, but you have to be ready for the I would say the consequences, or you have to be ready for the cold, the rainy days, and the normal days. I mean, you really have to be ready and have a strong passion for agriculture to be able to survive. And so, if you are in doubt of whether this is the right place to be, you need to sit down and really think and rethink whether you really want to do this, so that you don't end up losing 100 chicks, and you go to on Twitter and you're just there telling people, I will never invest in agriculture again. I don't know what. You must be ready for this. It happens. Sometimes you plant and it floods, all your crop is gone. These are just some of the risks that you have to be able to think about before investing in agri. And if you really, really have a strong passion for it, and you are ready for to put all your efforts, to put everything, you will eventually become successful in the agri space. It pays, I would say.
Wow. I like how you sort of started out to say, as much as they're looking at the money, they should also consider that, a key element of being a farmer is that you have to be resilient, which is you'd have a lot of challenges, but you have to tell yourself, okay, I'm going to see this through. Then speaking of, resilience and challenge, can you share maybe one or two experience that you have had in your company in terms of like challenges and how you sort of navigated that?
Um, One of the biggest challenges we faced was in the hydroponics system. You fully depend on water. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
And we did have one unit that was powered by electricity fully. It was fully automated, and we had the IoTs, and they will just, for example, if you want it to reach a specific moisture content, it will just, once it will just irrigate itself. Once it reaches that specific moisture content, the taps close. And we did have a power failure, and so that means that we had days without water flowing into the greenhouses. And this means that in the next like 3 days, you're likely, or I would say 1 week, based on the media we're using, we're likely to lose everything that we had in the greenhouse due to this power failure. And we actually lost a lot. And it was through this. And let me tell you, in the hydroponic system, you actually invest a lot of money, energy, and everything, and we just lost the whole thing due to a power failure. And it was through this experience we thought of, why are we not doing renewable energy? Number one, it's you just need to install the technology, and you don't need to be paying
The panels.
bills. So it was through this learning experience we actually shifted to renewable energy, and we started embracing it. And so far so good. We really do appreciate some of these technologies that are cost effective, and they're actually doing the work that it's required.
Wow. Wow. That's a lot. So now I see why we were talking about, yeah, just thinking about it, like losing an entire unit just simply because of like a power outage. Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, but
you'd lose up to 5,000, $10,000, depending with how much you had
what?
invested in house.
Wow. Huh. It's really a story of resilience. It is a story of resilience. Hmm.
You have to be
Oh,
ready for it. However, we now do have insurance. We do have now farming insurance that has come up, and one of the good thing is now we can be able to insure our greenhouses, or you can insure your land or your poultry in case of issues to do with climate, or such disruptive issues that might happen. And excuse me, you can be able to get some of your money back.
hmm. Oh wow. Okay. That's also good, knowing that. I didn't know that there was insurance for that as well. Okay, that's also
Yeah.
good. That also helps to mitigate the cost if any loss ever happens. That also helps to sort of mitigate that cost. Really nice, really nice. So, for you, in your own experience, what would you say has been like the impact of technology on the work that you guys do, and also what do you foresee how technology will also sort of help in advancing the work that you do?
Sorry, come again. Sorry.
I said, okay, what would you say are like the impact that technology in itself has had on the work that you're doing? And what do you also foresee happening in the next couple of years in terms of what you can do with technology as regards to your business?
Yeah, I would say that technology has made it simpler for young people like us to be able to embrace agriculture more as compared to what was happening years back. Right now, you do not need to 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 till your land using your hands or a hoe. Every single time we have mechanization coming in, and so it becomes right now work has become way easier, and it has actually attracted more young people and if you look at Nakuru Tubers, every staff under my company is a young person below 35 years, and about 95% of young people are below 30 years. I work with young people all throughout, and this means that we really rely on technology to be able to move things. Young people don't like getting tired. Gen Zs are there and they can do their work effectively, but they want to do it more efficiently or more utilizing less energy and things like those. And so technology now is coming in handy. For example, in the hydroponic systems, number one is it's very clean. You do not need to. There's no mud or anything apart from when we are having the field uh, growing potatoes in the field, and so you can easily have the young people being in the greenhouses where it is way cleaner and way easier to be able to move around. You don't need to bend, so it becomes way easier for young people to be able to utilize these technologies. And in the next few coming years, I'm envisioning a future where we actually have fully automated field operations, and it will be way easier when we have for example, we do have like we are now having robotic mechanizations, and that those are tractors that are just robots. They can be able to move around the farm easily and do all this work. And we'll just need one person to operate on the other end, and we can have maybe automated drones that will just be flying around the farm to do scouting, identify any pests or diseases or any soil health issues, and these will become more efficient for us and it will become more attractive for the young people as well.
Fantastic, fantastic. So technology is taking out a lot of the drudgery that is attached or related to agriculture, and also just sort of aiding productivity and effectiveness, right? And also, it's making it more attractive to young people because just hearing you talk about that in your organization, uh, people working at your company are less than 35. So that's like, okay, that's a handful of really young people and doing amazing stuff. Okay, so my very final question to you today, for every single person listening on the call right now that would want to sort of get a hold of your service, your product, how do they connect with you?
Yeah, my LinkedIn profile is Winnie Wambugu, just as my name, and Nakuru Tubers is also in on all social media platforms. We are on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, and I'm majorly active on LinkedIn and X. And yeah, we are fully online. You just get us easily online. We have our website. Our emails addresses are on the website. You could also utilize the website to get in touch with us. The website is nakurutubers.com.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you so much, Winnie Wambugu. It's been such a delight and a pleasure just having you today and learning much more about the impactful work that you're doing in Kenya, as well as the amazing work you're doing specifically with potatoes. And we look forward to the much more amazing work that you're going to do in the coming years, as you mentioned, across other agricultural produce as well. And thank you for the impactful work that you're doing with the youth, especially. Uh, you may not know this, but you just having your organization and having lots of young people work for you or work with you sort of shows what is possible within the agricultural space. And I believe that that would serve as an inspiration to other young people to believe that agriculture is a viable career path, like you had mentioned earlier on. And all that is required is a bit of tenacity and resilience. And definitely whatever life throws at you, agriculture would sort of also provide that. So thank you for coming on the podcast and sharing with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, I look forward to interacting with you more. Yeah.
Fantastic.